Welcome to the Rich Flow of Life podcast. Join Valerie Kanay, the award-winning authority author, as she takes you on a journey for your personal evolution. Valerie Kanay talks to enlightened featured guests who hold the keys to unlock your unique life situation. They each bring to the table their very powerful personal spin to inspire and empower you to learn to step up your game into the rich flow of life.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Valerie Kanay, and today our featured guest is Mr. Kevin A. Dunlap, who I am so proud, pleased, and honored to have him join us today. Kevin is the author of the up-and-coming book entitled Designing Your Own Destiny. For Kevin tells me it is the leadership roadmap to succeed in life and business. Designing your own destiny is about embracing change through leadership and love. So let me tell you a bit about Kevin. He's a life and love coach, a professional speaker, trainer, and also a certified NLP practitioner. Kevin has served as a leader in the military and has traveled the world extensively sharing his knowledge. He has been a college teacher, a choreography for film and stage, and even a stunt performer where he's mastered taking calculated risk so he knows when something is safe or not. And for over 10 years, he has been a successful business owner, and now Kevin is creating online programs to help people achieve their goals in life, love, and in business. So welcome, Kevin, to our program.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
It is so nice to have you with us today. So, Kevin, we're just going to jump right in there and start putting some meat into things around here. It's going to get real thick with this heavy conversation that you got where people can just create and design their own destiny. I'm so excited and thrilled about this. So what seems to be the most critical and the basis of all things in life?
Well, the most critical thing, in my opinion, is your relationship that you have not only with other people, but also with yourself, because everything starts off with yourself. Once you start really understanding where you are in your life as you're starting on your new roadmap or on your new pathway to where you want to go, regardless if it's in business or relationship, once you know where you are, then you can actually start designing the steps that are necessary in order to get to where you want to be, where you want to go.
I got you. That sounds really great. So I know, I believe in chapter 4 of the book, you was telling me that there's a perception principle, and I just wanted you to elaborate on that perception principle that we have about our lives.
Okay. Yes, that's in chapter 4. And what the perception principle is how you see things as an event occurs in your life or an event that occurs around you. Well, what is your perception of that event? Now, and the difference is that because everything that we see in our lives is all going to be based upon our own experiences that we had in the past. So your experiences would be different than my experiences. So how I perceive an event that occurs could be completely opposite how you perceive that same event.
Right. Okay. So based on your past perception and how you grew up and all that kind of things, is it?
Right. Absolutely. So if you grew up, say, in the South, like I did, or if you grew up in, say, Japan, or you grew up in Mexico, something that may occur, even just like, say, hand gestures, how, when somebody, does a certain hand gesture, like, say, they're calling you forward and you cup your hand facing up, we see that as being very normal. However, if you cup your hand going downward, which is also very normal in the United States, that's actually a very negative way of emotion to somebody in the Asian countries. So it's all about our own perceptions, how we grew up, all the experiences that we have, and then what is that association that we have with those experiences. So that's what that chapter actually breaks down into, is everything is based upon your perception. I don't know, have you ever heard of the term rose-colored glasses?
Yes.
So
I have heard that.
What the actual concept of rose-colored glasses is how you perceive something, or when somebody's seeing something with rose-colored glasses, that means they're always looking at things from a positive perspective, or sometimes even a false positive perspective, where they don't want to see the negative of something like that. So this whole concept is, if you put on a rose-colored glasses, or you put on, say, a blue-tinted glasses, or you put on black-tinted glasses, everything is going to be seen, would be seen separately. So whatever glasses that you put on are exactly different than what the same glasses that I would put on. All of our prescriptions are different.
I got you. So how you see things is how your experience is going to be, which pretty much leads into, like you was telling me before about the event story association. How does that pan out? That's in one of the further chapters, like in 10,
Yes, that's currently in chapter 10. The concept of the event story association essentially just says that whatever event that occurs in your life, you're going to create a story based upon that event. And your story may be completely different than my story, which goes back to the whole perception principle. However, the mind always sees everything in stories. And that whole concept there is, let's say, for an example, you got a bad grade in elementary school on a math test. And then let's say the teacher put they marked it up with red ink and then also put a frowny face on your math test. Well, from that one experience could very easily, for the rest of your life, you say, well, I'm bad at math.
Oh.
Because that's the event that occurred. The story you created was, I'm bad at math. And then every other story that you can find out there will support your concept of that you're bad at math. But it's just a self-imposed limitation.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's very interesting because I know that there are all kind of things that can happen in your life. And it just seems, I know I've seen different talk shows and stuff where they have these type of things where, like you say, you get a bad grade in math with the frowny face on it. You just always put that as that kind of way. So how can people start to make like small changes to turn this type of thing around,
Well, the ideal thing is just to be open to that you can make small changes. Just because an event occurred in the past and the story you created about that event, well, you can actually start changing that story.
How do you do it, though? What would be the way?
One of the easiest ways, in my opinion, is that you just consciously make that decision to change the story. As an example, let's say using that same concept that you did bad on that one test, you could just say, you know what, I was sick that day. I wasn't feeling well that day. I was not performing the best of my ability on that one specific day. So that cannot be my defining moment for the rest of my life.
Okay.
I mean, because you see this in everywhere in your life. It could be where, let's say, a spouse cheated on you, or whatever event that happened, regardless if it was a good, bad, or negative, or extremely negative event. It is still your own conscious story that you associate with it.
Mm-hmm. I know there was you told me in chapter 9 where you had like the compound effect,
Yes, the compound effect is actually by an author by the name of Darren Hardy, which is also the creator of a magazine called Success Magazine. Now, the compound effect is a principle that is based upon by making small changes, small minute changes, and maintaining those small changes will actually have huge results over the course of time. As an example, let's just say I'm going to use one of the analogies I always like to use is the analogy of somebody holding a gun shooting at a target. If you were to have a pistol in your hand and you're 1 inch away from the target, are you going to miss that target when you pull the trigger? Well, absolutely not. However, let's say you're a foot away and you're holding that pistol in exactly the same way, and you pull the trigger. That's perfectly fine. But now let's just say you, instead of pointing directly at the target, you point it 0.1 degree to the right of that target. Well, if you're at point blank, you're going to hit it. If you're at a foot away, you're going to hit it. Yet over time, let's say you go back 10 feet, 100 feet, 1,000 feet, a mile. Do you see where that angle will start making a bigger and bigger difference? So as the concept of the compound effect is, by making these small, minute changes over time will have dramatically large results.
I see. That makes good sense too,
Well, another analogy that you could use on this, let's say you have the whole concept, you and your twin sister are wanting to lose weight. You're both eat exactly the same. You both weigh exactly the same, yet you decide to eat 100 calories less per day. Over the course of a year, that's 36,000 less calories, which is 10 pounds, 10 to almost 11 pounds. If you change nothing else, just that 100 calories a day, let's say that's a cup of coffee per day that you've taken out of your diet, nothing else changes, you've actually accomplished a 10 or 11 pound weight loss by just that one change. So it just compounds. The hard thing to see in the compound effect is people want immediate results overnight, but the compound effect is a delayed process. So You don't see it in the first week. You don't see it in the first month. You may not even see it in the first 2 or 3 months. Yet over time, by consistently doing it or by consistently having that behavior, you will see the dramatically large results over the course, of, say, of 6 months, a year, or 2 years.
Oh, okay. Right. So I guess that's why it's like you teach also and you train people about the subconscious mind. And yeah, that mind sees in pictures. That's why it's important to have those pictures out in front of you, right?
Yes, absolutely. Because when you're thinking about a goal, quite frequently you're doing what's called a visualization technique, where you're visualizing yourself in that goal. Let's say your goal is to drive a Mercedes 5 Series of something, and you see yourself in the car, and so you can actually see, you feel the leather. You go through all five of your senses as you're doing these visualizations. However, the negative thing is a lot of times, a lot of people will try to visualize something and they visualize it in the negative. Well, the subconscious mind does not understand the negative. Let's say, for an example, if I'm out in the dating world, I want to date somebody that doesn't smoke. What is that? What picture are you putting in your mind? Smoking. So therefore, the mind is going to go seek out a person that smokes. So therefore, any kind of visualizations that you do, you cannot use the negative, or what was it called, the antithesis of it. You cannot use the negative aspect of it. You always have to look at things from the positive perspective. That where the subconscious mind knows, because it sees in pictures, it knows what it's going after. It knows what it wants.
Wow. That's pretty interesting because I think very few people actually know that, Kevin. Don't you agree?
I very much agree with that, because I think most people use the word not or non or something like that in their goals. Like, say, I want to date a non-smoker. They don't realize that the subconscious mind does not understand the word not or non. It just understands the picture, which is going back to the whole concept of the changing your story on the event story association. That's where you just, instead of looking at it from the negative aspect, you start looking at it from what else could it mean, and therefore you can actually start breaking some of these habits or negative limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And so I know you were explaining before too, like in somewhere around chapter 8 about the be, do, have syndrome, or have, do, be. Explain that whole concept because it's very interesting. I like that. This is a spinoff into that.
Yes. In chapter 8, I do have a section on there where, let's say for an example, you want to be happy. And the only way you're going to be happy is to be in that successful, that loving relationship. So therefore, you go out there most people go out there and say, well, I have to have the relationship in order to be happy. So they go out there and they go out and they do the doing part. They go out and they're on the dating and the doing whatever. And then once they get into the relationship, everything is externalized. Everything is put on the outside person. So for them to have that desire of happiness, they have to be in that relationship. Well, to be happy, they have to be in that relationship. However, the main concept of this is to actually, the reverse of that is to be, do, have. So
be, do, have.
Be, do, have is the way you want to be.
Okay.
So if you want to be, and to say in a loving relationship, and that will make you feel complete. Well, first off, you have to feel complete. You come from a state of beingness, of being complete. Then you do then you will do what you have to do, and then you'll have what you're seeking. I mean, this is the basis of even the law of attraction.
Okay.
Because the law of attraction is, yes, if you're not in the right beingness, are you going to attract that other person?
Mm-hmm. Makes perfect sense. Yeah, go.
Perfect sense there.
Mm-hmm.
So my challenge to your listeners would be that in order to go after what you're wanting, happiness, financial security, whatever, first off, you visualize and you start coming from your inside. You come from your own beingness. Then you will do what is necessary. And then you will naturally attract, which is the having part. You will attract what it is that you're seeking.
Mm-hmm. I'm just curious to know, Kevin, how hard is it to get to that beingness state that you're talking about? Because that's the first part of it, is to get there and be that. So how hard is it for a person to be that? You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. And actually, it's just a conscious choice. It's a conscious decision. And that's going to be the hardest part, because it's going to be different for different people. So if you're looking to say, I am loved, I feel happy, you have to come and say, okay, for me to attract what I want, I have to internally make the decision that I am happy. I mean, regardless of what it is that you do, if it's a visualization technique, if it's meditation, or if it's even doing those things that some people will say is, oh, fake it till you make it. Is one of the things that I'm sure you may have heard of before. So if you want, even if you may not feel it, maybe you should start pretending that you feel it, and that will naturally cause you to start changing toward that state, just on a natural, from a natural thing. Even though you're quote unquote faking it, it is still a way of at least moving you toward where you're the beingness level that you need to be in order to attract what it is that you're seeking.
I gotcha. Do you have any really outstanding success story you can share with us about over your trainings and teachings and stuff?
Yes, and this is not one of the things that we talked about, but this is in the book on the Designing Your Own Destiny book that I'm writing right now. And there was a concept in there from another book called the 5 Love Languages. And I do recall a friend of mine coming to my house, and she was on the verge of divorce. She was crying on the verge of a divorce, and just talking about she had never heard of the 5 love languages, and this is a lady that was married for a few years with 2 small children. And I ended up just talking with her one afternoon or one evening about the love languages, and then I've kind of found out, her love languages her primary 2 are completely different than her husband's primary 2. And she was not feeling loved. And it's like, well, because you're not speaking his language and he's not speaking yours.
Okay. So you get them on track to speak the same language, is it?
In that case, yes. I mean, because from with that book, the 5 Love Languages by Dr. Gary Chapman, what he talks about is that how most people express love is how they want to receive love. It's like, I speak English, therefore that's how I communicate. Well, that's not going to be effective with somebody that doesn't speak English.
Not at all.
So now let's say I'm speaking to somebody from Mexico, so I'm speaking Spanish. Now it's, I know how to speak Spanish. Now we can communicate better. Exact same thing is in the love languages. Is if your love language happens to be, let's say, quality time, spending time with each other, and your wife's happens to be gifts, tokens of endearment. For her to feel loved, the one person is going to have to buy gifts for the other, while the other person has to spend quality time with the former person. That's the only way that they're going to be able to speak to each other and feel loved.
And feel loved. You're right. So this book just sounds really incredible, Designing Your Own Destiny. It's this power pack with all of the principles and teachings and trainings that you're going to need to just take your life and your business to success, right?
That is correct.
All righty. So I guess as our program has come to an end, Kevin, you want to take this opportunity, please, and let people know how they can hook into you and give us your final thoughts.
Okay, yes. Well, they can find me online. My website is kevinadunlap.com. That's Kevin, Kevin, the letter A as in Anthony, Dunlap, D as in dog, UNLAP.com. On that website, they can also go ahead and download a pre-order of our books. That we're doing pre-orders now because the book should be coming out in mid-April or mid-spring. And for your listeners, I am going to be giving them a coupon code so they can actually get it's right now. The book is $27.95. I'm offering it online for pre-sale at $24.95. However, for your listeners, I will give them an additional $4.95 discount. And they just use the coupon code, the letter V as in Valerie, the letter K as in Kanay, and then the word TALKS, TALKS. That's VK TALKS for the coupon code. And you'll be able to get the book for $20 even, plus whatever shipping is for the mail service. And that would I would like to offer to your listeners. As far as the final note, all I'm going to say is be true to yourself, as well as figure out where you are in your life, as what we initially talked about. Visualize, come from a state of beingness, and then just go out and visualize what you want and go out and get what you want.
Awesome. Well, Kevin, I want to say I don't take lightly that you joined us today to share this wisdom and this great nuggets with us, golden nuggets. And I'm just so appreciative that you did all of that, and especially giving a discount for VK Talks and all like that. And so I do love you dearly. And on that note, I'm going to say bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You have been listening to the Rich Flow of Life podcast with host Valerie Kanay. We're most appreciative you took the time to be with us. And thank you. For more action, go subscribe to Valerie Kanay Talks YouTube channel and like us on Facebook at Valerie Kanay Talks and follow us on Twitter at Valerie Kanay. Until next time, we love ya.